Hey guys, Eric and Joey here to talk about the big Walking Dead season finale. Welcome to the Tombs. Obviously a lot of anticipation going into this episode. What'd you think, Joey?
I like that it had a happy ending
Yeah.
for all of us that hate Andrea so much.
Right.
I like, it's probably not a good reflection on the show, but I clapped and cheered and I was super happy. But overall, I was really disappointed in this episode.
I mean, I won't say, I didn't think it was a bad episode. I gave it a 7.3, which is good on our scale, but there was definitely places it was lacking. And I do think, you know, let's just talk about the Andrea of it all.
Let's
and,
get that over with.
And say that the fact that like the entire end and conclusion, the big emotional conclusion was Andrea dying wasn't enough because, yeah, I wrote down in my notes, yay, as I realized she was bit. And so they had this big emotional goodbye for her, but you know, I do not think this is a character many people were sad to see go. I'm sure there's a few of you, but it need to be more than that.
It's just, the whole ending wasn't earned throughout the season. Like, everyone just doesn't like Andrea. Even the people on the show don't really like Andrea.
Right,
It feels so forced when they're like, oh, we're sad. And I like Daryl's expression is just like almost indifferent at the end there. And it's just, to hinge the whole finale episode on that, meanwhile not giving any real resolution to the governor stuff, it rung really hollow for me.
And unfortunately, it came on the heels of an episode that, you know, look, Andrea got a pseudo-redemption a couple weeks ago when she at least figured out, hey, maybe the governor's a bad guy.
It only took 14 episodes.
Right. But this episode, I was going crazy with the fact that she was stalling so much. She had to get out of those handcuffs to save herself, to save Milton, maybe. And obviously, if she's not going to save Milton, he's going to turn into a zombie and kill her. The fact that she kept staring over at him, I'm like, can you not multitask? Can you not try to get out at the same time?
Yeah, and I knew that was going to happen too. As soon as she started like reaching back with her foot to get the wrench or whatever, and it was just like so overly dramatic and she just couldn't do it. And I was like, of course you can't. Why would you be able to do this in a life or death situation? You've survived this long, but you can't get that wrench.
She went out the way we knew her to be. Very frustrating.
Exactly.
I was sorry to see Milton go. I thought that was an intriguing character. I really liked him and the governor's back and forth at the beginning, and the governor had a great line about when he asked him, what did your daughter think of you, and he'd say she'd be terrified of me, but she'd still be alive if I'd always been this man. I thought that was like
you kill her, you die, or you die and then you kill.
Right.
That was a good line.
I thought David Morrissey in general, this was a very good episode for him.
Yeah, totally. I mean that I don't want to say heel turn because obviously he's already full-blown heel at this point, but when he massacres all of his own people, that's just like, there's no going back. There's no, a lot of that sympathy that you kind of sort of felt for him throughout the season, that's just all out the window, and I thought that was a great moment.
It was a great, shocking moment, although I do feel like someone could have done something, but even if they failed, all the people he was shooting had guns. I mean, they had just attacked the place.
Right.
And I did think it was one of those things where we don't know Martinez, and I don't even know the name of the other guy well enough to know, but it's like, it felt like they tried, we knew Martinez was like a good soldier. That's the one thing we kind of knew about him. So I felt like, wouldn't someone just even try to tackle him or something?
Just try to stop him. But especially when Martinez had that moment with Daryl a few episodes ago, and it seemed like he was kind of like, I'm trying to do what's best for me right now. And I don't think aligning yourself with the mass murdering psychopath is probably really a good idea.
Yeah, who kills your own allies.
People you're probably friends with are dead now.
Right. Kind of going in reverse order, but so we had the big attack on the prison this episode, which the whole season had kind of been gearing towards. It was kind of purposely anticlimactic, but it happened halfway through the episode. It was over. But what did you think about that whole assault?
I liked it. I mean, I liked the fake out aspect of it.
Yeah.
And things blowing up is always fun. So it was fun for me.
I will say, as a fan of the comics, it was a nice little moment to see Glenn and Maggie wearing the riot gear.
Yeah.
And that was, I did think the fake out worked as far as it made it seem like they all voted to leave at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see that they kind of trapped and tricked the governor's men. But yeah, it did kind of set up the fact that because that happened halfway through and it was kind of over, something big had to happen in the end that Andrea's death didn't supply. Didn't make up for.
Yeah.
But we did get the big, I'd say, emotional thing of Carl killing that guy and sort of the debate of that. So where do you stand on that whole?
I've liked Carl, even the stay in the house Carl.
Right.
But the whole relationship with Rick and Carl right now, where it's sort of reversed, like Rick has sort of found, not to some degree, his optimism again, whereas Carl is just dead inside.
Right.
Like Carl shot his mother, Carl shot this kid, and I think that's really interesting for him as a character, especially, you know, moving forward into season 4.
Yeah.
So all that stuff in this episode, I enjoyed a great deal.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, first of all, I'll say I can back Carl on this move because they told that guy to put his gun down, and that was pretty shifty. That he's like, "Here, I'll hand it to you."
And pointed at you and slowly, yeah.
I felt like if Snake Plissken did what Carl did, or, you know, someone like that, and just shot him for that, we'd support that. But I do think it's like a good sort of debate of like, you know, is this a dark and scary path he's going on? He definitely seems to be living by the governor's philosophy of you kill or you die. You know?
Yeah, totally. And I think that's interesting for the character in the next season. And it spices things up in terms of like moral ambiguity, because we've had a little bit of that, and I feel like that's what the show should be about. But so far, it's really been almost cut and dry to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Carl, I think character to watch next season is Carl. And then, you know, it was good to see Tyreese and Sasha sort of join Team Grimes. I thought it worked well that there was no big fight first, because they were already portrayed as people that were keeping their eye open, skeptical of what was going on with the governor.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they go, yeah, okay.
I enjoyed that too. I really am liking those two characters. You know, we haven't really seen all that much of them, but what we have seen is really compelling to me, and I like that maybe now they're going to move forward with the Rick and Tyreese relationship that we know from the comics. And hopefully that sort of brings new and interesting story potential for the next season. Yeah,
you know, we can hope, you know, the end obviously has all these other people come to the prison, some, you know, I'm sure some of whom will become major characters next season. You know, right now they're a bunch of faceless extras. But, you know, you think about the season 2 finale, not just the fight. It didn't have to have a fight this episode, but the fact that there was the big, you know, conflict at the barn, and then there was the reveal of Michonne, Rick's big speech, the prison. This finale did feel lacking in that regard as far as leaving you. You're left with some quiet, you know, oh, they could do this next season, but not a, oh my god, I have to see it.
There's like less big story changes. Like there's no change of location or anything like that. But I think they do have an interesting cast of characters now that they've sort of weeded out all the terrible ones for the most part. I'm excited to see where they go. Yeah, you know, and I do want to mention sort of redeemed Michonne had a very nice moment with Rick saying, hey, I should have thanked you earlier, but I was too busy scowling and not speaking, you know? And that was good to see because they killed a lot of the other annoying characters, but I'm glad to see Michonne was fixed. Yeah, I think they left the show in a good place for next season. Hopefully a lot of the problems that we've had this season will be worked out next time. Last question I want to ask you, what do you think about the fact that the governor lived and he's just still I love that. I love that he lived. I don't like that there's no resolution within the episode of like, okay, so he shot all those people and took off, and then what? Yeah. You know, and I'm sure he'll be back and he'll play a major role in the next season, but I do like that he's still around because I think that'll bring out new interesting stories. Yeah, I'm cool with him living too. It did feel weird not to see him one more time. Right, you know, it's like that happened pretty early, like maybe 2/3 through the episode. Yeah. So you just felt like you needed one more scene with him. Just to totally. Remind you his threat is out there. Yeah. What did you think, guys? We're already seeing a lot of reaction to this finale. I have a feeling I know what some of you thought. You know, did you think this was a good but not great finale? Did you think it was the worst finale ever seen, or was it the best finale ever seen? And what do you want to see next season on The Walking Dead? We'll see you next fall to talk more. Thanks.